How's that going? Hey, who loves my hair?
10 west at Vermont Avenue. That's blocking the slow lane and the second lane of the collector at Vermont. You're looking at slow-go traffic.
It's funny to see the sun has come up now in London.
Traffic line 888-500-5003. And looking at the South Islander traffic cam in Diamond Bar, conked out car 60 west at Grand Avenue. That's taking away your carpool lane. Slow-go approaching. This report is brought to you by...
Yeah, what is it, 5 a.m.? Something like that?
KFI is fighting back. I'm Jackie Lauper.
If you're involved in
444.
Oh.
You need to know about Positive Coaching Alliance. PCA is a national nonprofit organization developing better...
Pretty early sunrise, isn't it? My goodness, what kind of time are they on?
Well, they're north like Seattle. You know, where beginning of morning nautical twilight, or BMNT, is pre 5 a.m. And then this time of year, EENT, end of evening nautical twilight, is right at 10 p.m.
Climacophobia, the fear of climbing stairs.
I remember summers, you know, the sun wouldn't go down to almost 10.
Yeah.
But here, it's like 8:30, bye.
But you shouldn't have to. At the Cedars-Sinai Orthopedic Center, our minimally invasive techniques allow many patients to go back home.
That's Michael Chappé in the other room. We're talking on Talkback. Whoa! What in the actual fuck here? What are you doing? Here. What? Come on. What do you mean Zulu sucks? I hope you don't mean the movie.
Everyone to get screened regularly and by raising funds to accelerate research so patients get cures faster and lives are saved.
Did you mean Hulu sucks?
Cancers that might affect you. Take the pledge at getscreenednow.org. It only takes a minute to take care of yourself. Talk to your doctor today.
And you mean the people who are Zulus suck? Because you should probably watch the movie Zulu, and you might have a different opinion.
More about energy-saving tools that help control energy costs during on-peak hours at
Oh, GMT. Yeah, Zulu is Greenwich Mean Time always. It's a constant time around the world. When somebody says 0300 Zulu, that means whatever you are to GMT. Like right now, we're -7. During daylight savings time, we're -7. Normally, we're -8 hours from GMT, from Zulu time. Zebra time is local time. Zulu is, you know, if you're on Iceland and this other guy's in Okinawa, and you both agree that at 1900 Zulu, you're going to coordinate something, then you both need to figure out what time you're in relation to GMT you are. Zulu is always GMT. What's that?
I got your bumper.
Burp. No, you got it.
You want me to play it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Enter now for a chance to win 2 upgraded business class tickets on the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner, plus a 2-night stay at the luxurious Henry Hotel in downtown San Diego. Go to KFI.com, keywords Pacific Surfliner.
Traffic is getting worse.
And you see it from the air. A freeway's backed up for 7 miles.
Now it starts to move a little bit and will change a little bit, and a crash will change that.
It'll stay that way till about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Although I find that people don't care as much about getting to work on time as they do getting home.
KFI is fighting back. Jeff Baum, Michael Bryant. When you hear Eye in the Sky, you're listening to
Who loves my hair?
an iHeartRadio station.
KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is super hyper local Sunday. Brian Suits here until 10 p.m., but a whole lot of international stuff. So we're sort of doing super dark, hyper secret local place Sunday as we're awaiting Scotland Yard, the London Metropolitan Police, in regards to a press conference with the van incident earlier tonight, just past midnight London time. And just to reset this, because as I'm looking, and this is my mistake to look on the Twitter sphere, but on the Twitter sphere, a lot of British Muslims are saying, "Oh, this is terrorism. There's no doubt about it," but no one's saying it because it's racist because the guy's white. Well, okay, 3 weeks ago, the Brits took literally 12 hours to even broach that this was possibly terrorism. And so they're very, very careful about this. They are not quick, even though three guys running down the street with knives, yelling Allahu Akbar, and slashing women's throats, and targeting a place where they were virtually guaranteed to not collaterally, accidentally kill a Muslim. And if they were killing a Muslim, it was an unobservant Muslim in a bar during Ramadan. Okay, we knew that much within 2 hours of the attack 3 weeks ago, but the British police still didn't come out and say that was terrorism. They just don't do that. They just don't. Scotland Yard, this is what they have said, and they haven't updated this in a couple hours. Police are on the scene and are dealing with a major incident on Seven Sisters Road. They have not updated that. This is everything that they said just a few hours ago. The investigation, this is 0446 hours. And what did we say, Michael Chappé? We're saying that is, that's London time, and the sun's coming up because they're in the northern hemisphere. So this is from 4 minutes ago. The investigation into the circumstances of the incident in Seven Sisters Road in Finsbury Park is ongoing. Police were called just after 0020 hours, that's 12:20 in the morning, to reports of a van in collision with pedestrians. Officers they're wrong about that, by the way. It was 0020 on the 19th of June. This makes it sound like it was 28 hours ago. Anywho, police were called just after 0020 hours to reports of a van in collision with pedestrians. Officers attended alongside other emergency services and found and tended to a number of casualties. One man was pronounced dead at the scene. So they're confirming there's one dead. Officers are in the process of informing next of kin. A post-mortem examination will be scheduled due course. 8 people were injured, taken to 3 separate hospitals. 2 people were treated at the scene for minor injuries. At this stage, there are no reports of any persons having suffered any knife injuries. And they're trying to quell a false report of the guy getting out of the van and stabbing somebody. The driver of the van, a man aged 48, was found detained by members of public at the scene and then arrested by police in connection with the incident. He has been taken to hospital as a precaution and will be taken into custody once discharged. He will also be subject of a mental health assessment in due course. A number of police units are at and managing the cordons around the crime scene, supported by armed officers and the Territorial Support Group. That's the British Army, the British Reserves, the Territorials. At this stage of the investigation, no other suspects at the scene have been identified or reported to police. Due to the nature of this incident, extra policing resources have been deployed. And you'll notice that the word terrorism not in there anywhere. So that is an update from 5 minutes ago now. So there is one dead in London. Witnesses reporting that the man was heard say, "I want to kill all Muslims." And again, that's the metadata that we have all over the tweeter machine. So if you're satisfied enough to think it's terrorism or anti-Muslim crime or whatever, go ahead. But just like 3 weeks ago, the Brits, and this is what's crazy, is you might be saying, well, this is not a case of them saying 1 and 1 isn't 2. This is a case of them saying that 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. They won't even say that's more than 2. They don't do that. They just simply don't do that. And part of the reason they don't do that is because Americans do that. So they don't do that. They don't even confirm we are investigating this as if it's this or whatever. They're just saying we are going to go where the leads follow us. So you can come to whatever conclusion you want. I think it's fairly clear at this point that if a guy jumps onto the sidewalk in a large automobile and then he floors it, according to witnesses, and he steers towards a group of people who are standing outside of a mosque that just got out, and then he gets out and he says, "I want to kill all Muslims," and a whole bunch of eyewitnesses agree, I think there's a preponderance of circumstantial evidence that he might have intentionally done that. That's just me. But I'm not drawing any conclusions. By the way, I am streaming on YouTube Live. If you go to The Dark Secret Place and you subscribe, they're on YouTube Live. I'm streaming the backstory here in studio. All right, well, and like I say, we're going to be swinging back and forth. There was a terror attack against Western tourists in Mali. We'll get to that next hour. But here locally, this is all the buzz. 3 men were arrested on suspicion of selling avocados illegally, causing a Ventura County business to lose more than $300,000. Ventura County Sheriff deputies arrested the 3 suspects Wednesday after serving search warrants at their workplace, the Mission Produce Facility on Dufal Road, and their homes. These guys were pinching avocados. Ventura County Sheriff, I read that. Detectives said the warrants resulted in the arrest of the men who were identified as a 38-year-old man, Joseph Valenzuela, a 28-year-old man, Carlos Chavez of Oxnard, and 30-year-old Rahim LeBlanc, also of Oxnard. An investigation began in late May over allegations that employees at the Mission Produce Facility were conducting unauthorized cash sales of avocados. Detectives obtained evidence that confirmed the claims. Who went undercover on that one, on the great avocado caper? Detectives also learned that the illegal sales may have been happening for several months. Mission Produce estimates the value of the stolen produce at more than $300,000. Remember the great lime kerfuffle of 2 years ago? There were no limes in L.A. Limes were rare, and people were pinching limes and shoplifting limes, and there was I forgot what it was a chain that if you brought limes, you drank for free, something like that. I mean, for some reason, there was a bad lime harvest like 2 years ago. Well, I don't know what's going on with avocados. And I would imagine maybe it's drought related or whatever. I don't know. But the drought's over. So I'm really curious. What is the return on investment? Well, I mean, obviously $300,000 is a return on investment. But so if these guys were walking out of the produce facility every day with, what would you need? What are avocados? I'm guessing that pretty much none of us pay attention when our wives go shopping, but I want to say avocados are like $2 a pop, right? Is that what's going on? Is that a this year thing? Do I just not pay attention? I buy them in bags, or I put 5 of them in a bag, and I don't weigh them. I pay for them. I put them on the thing and swipe my Vons card. And by the way, I'm in the Vons Club. Some kind of a big deal. But Producer Daisy, do you recall what were avocados $1 a piece a year ago or something? I guess I should pay more attention. And so, but I mean, it's funny. They don't do it when they're $1 per avocado. But boy, when you go north of $2, then yes, then it's a life of crime for me. So there you go. Yeah. So and keep in mind here. Well, but what do? Do you immediately go out? Do you clock out? You slide down the dinosaur and punch your time card, and you put up a stand on the roadside, or do you walk around the Vons and you see people in the produce section and you go, hey, you want some avocados from the Jeep? Hey, I see you're a fan of the avocado. I'm a fan of the avocado myself, if you know what I'm saying. Would you be interested in some underage avocados? I may or may not have some out in the trunk, but you have to use a code word. I don't know. I mean, how do you fence avocados? Is there an avocado fence in Ventura County who got away? And it's the foot soldiers who they have arrested, and Mr. Big, Mr. Avocado Grande, is laughing, and the crime streak continues. Anyway, folks, don't buy avocados on the side of the road. You're just helping crime, is what you're doing. Say no to delicious avocados on the side of the road. We'll be back right after this Super Hyper Local Sunday with more crime tips. Right after this, Brian sits in here live until 10 p.m. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
This Father's Day, give your dad what he needs. Take your mom somewhere far away for a long time.
That's pretty fucking funny.
I was getting that Metro Police thing. I don't have it. I do now.
Yeah, a guy sent me the link and said, look, they haven't updated shit in 4 hours. And right when I hit the link, they updated it.
One person dead.
Whoops. I was talking to him right before he went on the air.
One person has been killed, several others hurt. After being hit by a vehicle, witnesses say was a white van.
I'm wearing my buddy's tie-dyed 3rd Battalion 1st Special Forces Group hat.
One person has been arrested. He's a 48-year-old man. They believe that person was the driver of the vehicle responsible for the death and casualties. This happened near the Finsbury Park Mosque. The Muslim Council of Britain says the people struck had just left prayers at the mosque. When they
Why is it backwards? That's wacky.
Monday morning, London time, police say it is too early to say if this incident...
They're total hippies. Up at Fort Lewis,
Brought to you by American
1st Bat.
At least 2 people in Mali have been killed and 30 hostages apparently freed after attackers had opened fire at a tourist resort. The Mali government said a number of suspects...
I love fresh spring water.
...attack today at Le Campanet resort near the Mali capital. It's not known how many people or how many others were hurt. How many people were involved. The Mali government says its troops and soldiers from the French...
You know what? I don't know what to say about the KFI...
People have been killed when their SUV slammed into a
about the podcasting shit. They're supposed to put it up at Spreaker, and I don't want to Blue Falcon anybody on this, but the guy in the other room is supposed to be podcasting that stuff. Of purity of essence, EOP or POE.
Orange County Fire Captain Stephen
We better get on the CRM 114 and check that out.
last night. Man from Compton is
Dr. Strangelove. That holds up. That movie holds up, and it always will.
being sold from a Ventura County auto care business. Sheriff's investigators
Did anybody watch Megyn Kelly interviewing fucking Alex Jones, that crazy guy?
He's doing court later on. House Intelligence Committee
My wife is
wants to take down special counsel Robert Mueller.
is recording it.
And I think the answer is they want to lay the foundation to discredit whatever Bob Mueller comes up with.
Wow, good for me. Looks like
Scorched earth litigation strategy beginning with trying to
I got that London Metropolitan Police update and was the first on the air with that.
election shift says
Hey, I think you're right.
before determining
Megyn Kelly on MSNBC.
in the first place. Kids in Colorado may soon have to look up and put down their phones.
Colorado officials say
All right, let me look at Twitter. Let's see who retweeted what.
on buying smartphones for children. Backers are looking
Wind affects avocado harvest. Wind blows the blossoms off. Blossoms turn into the fruit.
to a kid 2 years
Why, was it like overly windy or some deal?
after a warning. The measure now needs about 300,000 voter signatures for the proposal to make the 2018 ballot. Julie Slater, KFI News.
Traffic.
A guy says, I got a new basic Mossberg 500.
60 East at
How would you kit that stick for Grand Theft Auto? This is what I would say. I'm not a fan of pistol grips unless there's a buttstock with it. There is and I forgot the brand, there's a very, very good aftermarket Mossberg 500 replacement buttstock that has a adjustable M4 style buttstock with a pistol grip. With a shotgun, they're virtually uncontrollable with a pistol grip alone. I know you can go to the range and tell me that you can manhandle that motherfucker and the whole thing, but honestly, you fire a shotgun with the sights. Even and with a shotgun, you should be getting a so-called ghost ring sight. What's that? Yeah. And you should train yourself to always actually look down the front sight post of a shotgun. You don't even need to orient the front sight post in the ghost ring in the back. And you can even lift your head up a little bit, and you will hit where that front sight post is aiming. But it should be instinctive, and it should be pretty natural with a shotgun. But it's only natural if you get a good buttstock. I swear to God, I hate guys at a range with a pistol grip like they're fucking Jack Sparrow or whatever. No, shotguns like a buttstock. Even in the trenches, the trench guns in World War I, men and lawmen, you always fire a shotgun from the shoulder. All right, I got to go do some radio brilliance. I'm going to play Feinstein Wiener and then the open.
3 to 5 degrees hotter for Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday we'll see a slight cool down that still is going to bring lots of hot days right on into next weekend. Right now, 75 in Brea, 71 in Lake Forest, 64 in Marina Del Rey, and 76 in Burbank. We lead local from KFI's 24-hour newsroom. I'm Michael Shapiro.
Let's look at the Wiener computer.
Super Hyper Local Sunday with Brian Suits.
Well, we start with breaking news from Hollywood. People stabbed and shot inside.
We are at Melrose Avenue and Rossmore. Back here is
That's all you get. KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is Super Hyper Local Sunday, but a lot of international stuff happening. So we're calling it Super Dark Hyper Secret Local Place Sunday. A terror attack, still the perpetrators unknown, but in the nation of Mali in sub-Saharan Africa, a popular tourist vacation spot that is very well known for vacationers in France, especially, was specifically targeted by apparently three terrorists. They took hostages, but the local security forces, who are extremely well trained by France and America, took charge of the situation pretty rapidly and brought it to a successful conclusion. By success, I mean the 20 hostages were not beheaded on the internet. And several terrorists were killed. One got away. A little more on that. But it would normally be top of the news today, except that the Iranians launched ballistic missiles into Syria, which is still not even making the news. The U.S. Navy shooting down a Syrian fighter aircraft, still not even making the news, because in London, a chap drove a van, apparently a rental van, jumping a sidewalk a little after midnight as late night prayers were getting out at a mosque in Finsbury Park, London, running down 9 or 10 people, and now London police confirming one dead. I'm a little confused because I thought Ramadan ended on June 14th, but they're saying because you understand there's not normally a midnight prayer, but this may be I'm not sure. I'm not going to pull it out of my whatever, but regardless, there was a prayer. People were getting out at midnight, and it would seem that this guy, who in a rented van, was lying in wait for people to get out of the mosque. So he was aware that people would be in that mosque. So more on that as the story develops, and if the British have a press conference, we'll take it. And the thing is, if you blink, you'll miss it, because what they do, what Scotland Yard does, and we've seen this over the last 4 terrorist incidents in London, they don't do the American thing. They don't get out there and thank each other and tell you how to spell your name. They don't want to talk about the extraordinary contribution by the LA County Fire Department, and none of this could have been done without the, whatever. They don't do that. They just come out and they say, earlier tonight, a van, white in color, jumped the sidewalk and ran down a crowd of people. One is dead. What are your questions? Okay, bye. That's what they do. And so, like I say, if you blink, you miss it. So we'll get it for you. The lake fire, and I'm really confused because yesterday I tweeted a picture to LA County Fire Air Ops, the Twitter feed for the LA County air attack, the helicopters and all that. And the fire at Castaic Lake, and if you've ever been to Castaic Lake or you have a map, Castaic Lake is roughly V-shaped. And it is, and the opening of the V is sort of northeast. It's looking northeast. So at the point of the V, on the inside of the V, a fire started. The wind was blowing up the V, uphill. And so it looked like just a nightmare situation. They were saying early on, 0% contained. And it first showed up as a big gray cloud, looking almost like a thundercloud where I live. So I took a picture of that, and I sent it to Antelope Valley. Pardon me, to LA County Fire Air Ops. About half an hour later, the entire Antelope Valley was so smoky, you couldn't see it from one end to the other. You could not see the San Gabriel Mountains, nothing. Just gray, brown, stinky, smoky air, and it looked like a big fire. And they were running all the aircraft out of Foxfield, Lancaster, and the whole thing. So today, I was thinking, well, I'll go on my way into work to do Super Hyper Local Dark Secret Place Sunday. I'll drive past Castaic, and I will check out the operation. So I drive through Elizabeth Lake, go over the hill, go down Castaic, and I'm looking at where the fire was yesterday, and it's all out. It's all gone. And I could not see smoke. And so I'm really confused because, and let's turn to the newsroom, because Michael Chappé, last they said was the fire was 20% contained, something like that. Because like I say, I drove by it, and on the, it's all black, it's all burned, and there's some spots of smoke, and there's crews that are putting out some of the embers and things like that. But looking all the way up the hill, I don't see any active fire. And so the Castaic Lake, I guess what they're calling the Lake Castaic fire, is still ongoing. It's just that I couldn't see it today. But anyway, the swimming part of the lake is open. And so is, by the way, from what I could see, there were lots of pleasure boats on the lake. There were people fishing, if that's legal. If it's not legal, I didn't see any fishing. But there was water skiers and all that. So the big lake is open. The swimming lake below the dam is open as well. But I was not seeing fire smoke. So I don't know. And I didn't hear Michael Chappé. Did they give us an update on Castaic Lake? The last thing I heard was it's 20% contained, but it looks like it's out. Oh, he's okay. He's updating it. All right, so we'll get on that. And also, if we do get more information on the great avocado heist, we will get that to you. The Ventura County Sheriff Department serving warrants, discovering that 3 chaps were part of a ring of people who were stealing avocados from a produce company and then fencing them on the streets of Ventura County, and that has been broken up, absolutely broken up. So there's that. Woman in Huntington Beach has been hospitalized after being attacked by a swarm of bees. No joke. A woman was hospitalized with multiple stings after a swarm of bees attacked her in Huntington Beach on Saturday morning. The Huntington Beach FD received a 9 a.m. call. They arrived to find bees, quote, swarming all over the woman. They were really aggressive. As soon as we came on, they started coming after us, said Captain Robert Culhane. He suspected the insects were Africanized honeybees because of their size and aggression. Instead of stinging immediately, the bees would fly into the victim, firefighters, or other targets repeatedly. So they were bonking off of them before they stung. Firefighters tried to deter the bees with a water foam mixture, and that calms them right down, I'm sure. The foam strips the bees of their ability to fly, but then they formed teams. When they were able to approach the victim, they found even more bees meshed into her hair. Oh, ouch. That is unimaginable. To be stung in your scalp. The firefighter operating the hose was stung twice, but did not need medical attention. The spokesman, Captain Culhane, 28-year firefighting veteran, said, quote, "I've never been on a call like that before. They seem more aggressive than what I was used to," close quote. The woman was in her 40s, and that is a bad scene. That's an extremely bad scene. If you are allergic to bees, that can be fatal. I was allergic to bees early in my life, but I was fascinated by holding them in my hand. So I used to run up and cup them, and I would run home. And by the time I got home, I'd been stung. And by the time I was about 12, I was no longer allergic to bees. And coincidentally, I was far less fascinated by them. All right, the mumps is breaking out in LA County, and why wouldn't it, right? I'll tell you why and where and whether or not you're susceptible in just a minute. It is Super Hyperlocal Sunday. Also, a dash of dark secret plays as we're following the apparent intentional van attack on a crowd of people leaving a mosque in London a few hours ago. That and more. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. Michael Chappé with the news.
London police confirm one person has been killed. Several others
Oh.
in the northern part of the city. It happened about 12:10 in the morning, Monday, London.
This break?
They have arrested a
Oh.
48-year-old man as the
Oh.
vehicle and command.
I have to pimp iHeartRadio.
U.S. Navy 7th Fleet has 7 sailors killed aboard the USS Fitzgerald Navy destroyer in a collision with a cargo ship off Japan. 2 of the deceased sailors
Oh.
from Southern California. Yeoman 3rd Class, Shingo Douglas from San Diego. He was 25. And Fire Controlman 2nd Class, Carlos Victor Simeon, a 23-year-old.
I don't understand Navy ranks.
U.S.-led coalition headquarters in Iraq says USS 18 Super Hornet shot down a Syrian government Su-22 after it dropped bombs near the U.S. partner forces targeting ISIS in Syria. The shootdown was near the Syrian town of Tabqa. Check your forecast and the dark.
Hey, iHeartRadio. Do you? Do you really? iHeartRadio. It pays the bills. If only there was an app. Oh, wait, there is an app. It's the default app. iHeartRadio, the app, has been around, I'm going to tell you, close to a decade at this point. It's become, as I say, the default streaming app, and it's only gotten better for a couple of reasons. Reason one, free. The cost to you, nothing. Gratis. Free. Just download it from the Play Store on your Google or off of the Apple App Store. Free. No cost to you. Free. No money. No nothing. Free. Once you get it, you can set it up a couple different ways. You can invent channels. You can do all ska music, all Lumineers, all whatever. You can have your own channels. You can have all talk. You can have all Dark Secret Place. You can have all Dark Secret Place plus Super Hyper Local Sunday. You can do it whatever you want, and it will stream that stuff with CD or better quality. The iHeartRadio app is a freebie. And then, of course, live streaming of your favorite shows besides Petros and Money. I mean, all the other shows that are your favorite shows, even though Petros and Money generally on Thursdays absolutely kill it. They just killed it on Thursday. They were great. And I was streaming on iHeartRadio because I couldn't get that signal. I don't want to bust out my own company, but I can't get 570 KLAC where I live. I have to get my PMS on the iHeartRadio. So thank Odin for iHeartRadio. You'll thank him too. So check it out, iHeartRadio on the Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Close tonight, the 60s, a little bit hotter tomorrow. Highs up and down the coast, mid-70s, anywhere from the mid-80s to 100.
That's true. I can't get KLAC where I live. And I can't get K-Rock either. Which sucks. So, I'm scheduled to be in the Adam Carolla Netflix K-Rock documentary. I think I'm sitting down in about 2 weeks. I know that K-Rock signal sucks ass. Isn't that crazy? They've never made it better. I'll get a bumper lined up. So I gotta usually I'll stream K-Rock. But I can get it by the time I'm in Santa Clarita. I can get it. And then also I stream BBC quite a bit. Like when I sleep with the radio on. I have to have something in the background. And so I generally go with BBC.
I'm Robert Shapiro. If you've been seriously injured, where would you find the right attorney? That's why we started Right Counsel. I'm using my experience to get you.
I'm trying to get a bumper here.
When you need help the most. At Right Counsel, you'll team up with some of the most respected attorneys in California. These attorneys are part of my personal network, and now we're making them available to you.
When you need a lawyer for a serious
By the way, how is the iPhone microphone? How does this sound? Because I can actually get a mic for this, but I'm just really not.
This can't be happening. Friends are coming over this evening and the sink is clogged.
Okay, let me try the hose down the trap trick.
Okay, I'm gonna get a.
Maybe if I plunge the.
I'm gonna get a jam bumper ready to go.
Now what?
Look, Mike died.
No need. Sounds fine. Sounds and looks good.
Smell good, plumber. I need help.
Unfortunately, I'm on another job. Call 1-800.
So my friend Lauren Savan is in is in Havana right now. She couldn't come on because she's, in Havana. But I would have had her on. She and I are doing a couple of YouTube projects. Because if you've ever watched her on Fox 11 or on Red Eye and Fox and all that, she is, as people say, very, very funny. And that's something that once you're over the fact that she's smoking hot, then you realize that she's very clever, very funny, and I love working with her. and I'd like her to cut the cord with KABC and do fill-in with me. Like, I'm filling in for John and Ken on July 3rd and 4th. But she does a lot of KABC stuff, and that's where I met her, at KBC. But but I would say this: she is as funny as she is hot. She's one of those people that once you find out, how hilarious she is, it's actually, well, it's not easy, but it's easier to ignore how hot she is, because there's a different level of her, and so I endorse her. She's awesome. We have, and also, you know what? One of the reasons that we hang out at, like, the new Cat and Fiddle on Highland, we don't take selfies of each other and post them on Instagram. We have like actual meetings where we talk about what we're going to do for the YouTube project and stuff like that, and we don't jack around with Instagram and all that. We have like real meetings. We don't go, hey, here we are. We don't do that shit. But I will next time. I'll be sure. Yeah, I got the bumper. How can you label London event tonight's terrorism with an act of national defense? The point I was making is that nobody's labeling it anything. They are British authorities. Scotland Yard are doing exactly what they did 3 weeks ago, and they're saying, well, we can't call it terrorism or whatever. Whatever. It's a guy acting out. It's a guy, obviously, who's had it up to here with Muslim terrorism in Britain and Muslim takeover of London. And I'm speculating wildly here, but the act. Sorry. Oh wow, that is a good way. That is a good way to earn a timeout. Had to time out you. Yeah, don't compare me to Alex Jones. What do I think he's a moron. That's what I think. I think he's scamming everybody out of millions of dollars. The Jam. KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is Super Hyper Local Sunday, and on the YouTube live stream, someone said they can't stick around. They had a jam, and they dared me to play a jam bumper. So there you go. There you go. The jam from 1982. Anyway, back to the local stuff. Here's where it gets serious. Here's where the jokes are over. That would be the mumps. A mumps outbreak in LA County this year has infected 42 people, most of whom live on the west side, health officials said this week. And we've seen this pattern where west side LA people, they don't vaccinate their kids, but they rely on everyone else, understanding science and vaccinating our kids. But like, I know really wealthy people that don't vax their kids. Because, see, they know the truth because Gwyneth Paltrow told them not to. So they're not gonna, but all you sheeple out there, you vaccinate your kids. Well, these are the same people that hire Guatemalan nannies, all right, who have no vaccination histories. And I'm just pointing out, I'm just throwing a dart at the map and it landed on Guatemala. Maybe they're from Finland, except Finland has a 99% vaccination rate, so they probably wouldn't be likely. But anywho, back to the story. There have been several mumps outbreaks nationwide in recent years, including some that are ongoing in parts of Texas, Arkansas, and Washington State. As of May, there have been 3,176 cases nationwide. Children get the first dose of the MMR vaccine, which protects against mumps, measles, and rubella between 12 and 15 months of age, and the second dose between 4 and 6. Most of the local cases, however, have been amongst your gay or bisexual men, although some women have been infected as well. This is what public health said. Public health workers have determined that most transmissions occurred at bars, theaters, and nightclubs. Those infected often seem to share a social network. The LA County outbreak isn't related to the one at Chapman University in Orange during the spring. Mumps can be transmitted through kissing, sharing drinks, sodomy, and utensils. I'm adding one of those. Or touching surfaces that have also been touched by someone who's someone's penis or whatever. But I don't get it though, because if you're here because you were born here or whatever, chances are you got MMR. And if you're on a West Side gay bar, most people in there are adults. And I don't know that they're like great magnets for illegal aliens who came from places where they don't do MMR. I don't know. Do they have an illegal alien night at the Abbey or something? I've got no clue. Or in West Hollywood? No idea. But there's a spike in mumps amongst the gay and or bisexual community there on the West Side, which by the way, demographically is generally a higher median income than average incomes. So what I'm sort of getting to here, whether you're wealthy in Beverly Hills and you choose not to vaccinate your own kids and then they get TB, or you're wealthy on the West Side and you choose, I don't know how, but I just don't know, since you're not able to turn down the MMR vaccine when you're 2, and what was it again? Because I think with MMR, the first one is, it's right after that first year. And then the follow-up is between 4 and 6. There's no point where they ask you to sign. So I don't know why there would be a concentration of people who are more vulnerable to mumps, measles, or rubella. But anyway, the mumps outbreak. And there used to be, I want to say, in my knowledge of medical history, one of the diagnostic tools for mumps was they would make a kid eat a pickle. And if a pickle tasted abnormally sour, that was one of the confirmation tests for mumps. But that was back when we all knew that the earth was flat and that all you had to do was kill a porcupine and you could cure yourself of cancer. That's since been debunked. An explosion. They're making the oil, what you might call hash oil back in the old days. Now it's called honey oil. How do you make it? It's amazingly easy. It's so easy, in fact, it's blowing up garages all around the Southland. I'll tell you about the latest explosion in a garage here when we come back. And then also the sort of, in a way, kind of bizarre incident earlier today. Iran launching ballistic missiles, not as a test, but actually in conflict, launching ballistic missiles over Iraq into Syria against ISIS. Is the world about to explode, or was it just counterterrorism? So exploding marijuana honey oil garage and exploding ballistic missiles will continue mashing up Super Hyperlocal Sunday with Dark Secret Place right after this. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. Michael Chappé with the news.
As Brian has mentioned, police in London say one man has been killed.
That's how you do it.
Taken to hospitals after a van slammed into police say.
All right. Is there any reason to keep this stream going?
On the scene has been arrested. The guy was taken to
If there are no objections, if let anyone speak their piece.
Britain says the people moved down had just left a local mosque after prayers. Police now say the counter-terrorism command is investigating the incident. The news brought to you by the Kitchen Store.
What a weird name, Haywood Jablomi.
That fire has burned about 800 acres. The fire started yesterday in an area off the 5 freeway.
They were conventional warheads, and they weren't ICBMs. They were BMs, not ICBMs. They didn't go from one continent to another. They went from Persia to Assyria, if you're versed in the classics. So the Maven's going live here in July. I have to get some back material on. That's why here with YouTube. Now people, what I'm finding, this is kind of odd to me. I think this is great about YouTube, is that people are going back and watching old videos that I did for KFI, like the FISA award thing, and things like that. Oh, I gotta block that one. I gotta block that one. Well, grinding it into dust doesn't blow up the goddamn garage, now does it? This is something that generally they did. They heaved a Havana. It was a huge BM. They really let go of a couple of BMs. They had a good firm BM and launched them right at Syria. Yeah, so this has been going on now for the past couple of years. If you don't know this, there is a total ghetto method of making hash oil, and what the kids are doing these days is they're getting like a 1 liter, Coke bottle, plastic Coke bottle, and they're sticking all the buds in there, in the neck of it, and then they're poking a hole in the bottom. And they're taking butane, the big giant butane cartridges with the needle that you refill a butane lighter with. They're taking those, and the deal is if you shoot butane through the marijuana buds, it adheres to all the oil and resins, and what comes out at the other end is hash oil. The butane evaporates, but it takes a minute to do that. Now, if your buddy is sitting there charging a battery or, trying to spark a fire or whatever, you just blew up the goddamn garage. I didn't read that. Was the dog killed? I didn't see that. That sucks. I didn't see that. Oh, the dog was burnt. What an asshole. That is really, to sit there and put the dogs in danger like that. By the way, did everyone see my, there's a friend of mine, the guy's on CNN all the time, Rick Wilson, and he's on Twitter as at the Rick Wilson. Great political commentator and all this. He put a picture up of his dog jumping in his pool. So I put a picture up of my Border Collie Doc jumping a stream. And that picture has like 85,000 engagements in 24 hours. Do you have one?
Buy Frigo online at revolutionwear.com. The revolution starts below.
I'm real estate and business attorney Michael Kushner. And when Bill Handel and his partner needed an aggressive attorney, they called me. Kushner Carlson is well known for its psychotically aggressive approach to HOA disputes that involve HOA harassment, negligence, and mismanagement. So if you're a homeowner and you're in a serious dispute with your HOA, call 800-927-2700. Even if you have a lawyer, call us for a second opinion. You'll quickly learn why Handel has Kushner Carlson as speed dial. Again, 800-927-2700 or visit KushnerCarlson.com.
With Fios TV by Frontier, you'll have all the entertainment you need with instant access to over 150,000 on-demand titles. Fios TV Internet and Voice with Stars for $60 a month for the first 6 months.
Oh, man. Updates on what?
Frontier.com. Limited time offer. Frontier terms and conditions.
Updates on your mom? That was uncalled for. I apologize.
Trademark Services LLC used under license.
No. No hentai.
A medical robotics company that develops the Mayo Pro, a commercially available powered arm brace that can help restore movement to a patient's paralyzed arms and hands. Mayomo seeks
I can't comment.
to launch a Regulation A+ IPO.
8 tentacles up.
On the New York Stock Exchange market. Invest in this historic deal at medicalipo.com. To obtain a copy of the offering circular, go to medicalipo.com.
Traffic is getting worse.
You'd be amazed. At 6 a.m. when we started Japan, 118 down to 101, going up and over the hill. You're talking about 6 o'clock. I'll hit that 90.
And then I'm going to use the PC for a news story here. Radio is pretty fascinating, isn't it? You're sitting there watching a guy wearing headphones, talking into a mic. This is where all of extra food goes, from Handel's mouth right into this phone. KFI AM 640 more stimulating talk. It is Super Hyper Local Sunday with a dash of Dark Secret Place thrown in, and two stories where either the suspect's asshattery or douchebaggery affects other people, which is the worst kind of crime. It's sort of in the category of people who commit suicide by making a cop kill them, which is the worst kind of suicide. So let's start with this one. Two idiots in an SUV crashing late Saturday night into completely innocent victims' homes. 6 people in the home at the time. It is Yorba Linda. We make our scene. Here's KTLA.
Or about that truck that plowed into that home. They came speeding down Lakeview Avenue here in Yorba Linda, missing that stop sign, missing a turn. And then if you take a look at the skid marks, the tire marks here, they lead all the way up to this fence. Now the truck plowed through that fence before hitting a dirt mound that sent them flying, airborne, clearing the other side of the fence, clipping it on that side before...
So let me paint you a word picture. There's a residential street. These two had to be flying. And somehow they lose control. They can't make this corner. And the driver is standing on the brakes, and the skid marks are straight. And the car still jumps the sidewalk. And when it hits this dirt mound, it jumps the dirt mound and crashes into the kitchen of a house where 6 people were inside sleeping. So this thing had to be going really, really fast, as PhDs in physics say.
Turning on its side and plowing into the kitchen of this family's home. Now 5 people were inside the home at that time.
And let me look real quick. I'm going to see if I can get an eyeball here on the make and model of the vehicle. They're saying SUV, but I'm here to tell you. It hits this mound, goes up, and spins sideways. It goes roof first into someone's house early Saturday morning while they were sleeping, because that's what people do normally. But I can't make out what the truck was. But it is a big truck, and they were flying.
On its side and plowing into the kitchen of this family's home.
I mean, literally flying.
Inside the home at that time.
The family was home at the time of the incident, and they heard a crashing, and they were within feet of being impacted from the vehicle. All of them were able to extricate and get out safely. 2 adults and 1 child had minor injuries, and they were transported to the local area hospital.
I don't know how pissed I would be if I barely survived, if my family barely survived because some other jackhole crashed his truck into my house because of his own asshattery. And I don't even think I would let the relatives off with a warning. I think I would drag my face through 10 miles of broken glass just to spit in the shadow of the parents of the minister that married their parents. That is the depth of my revenge on that one. You gave birth to a moron, and it's only by the laws of physics that my family wasn't harmed by this. Meanwhile, here's a story where dudes are making hash oil and the dog pays the price. 2 people were injured during a marijuana extraction laboratory explosion that caused $80,000 worth of damage in South El Monte on Sunday, according to the LA County Sheriff's Department. Deputies and LA County firefighters were called to a motel. Of course, you don't do it in your own house. The 1200 block of Durfee Avenue, around 12:37 a.m. There, they found several motel rooms on fire. After the flames were extinguished, investigators recovered evidence at the scene and determined that a possible honey oil marijuana extraction lab was being operated at the motel. 2 suspects suffered burn injuries from the fire and were detained and transported to a local hospital. A dog was also transported to a local veterinary hospital for treatment of burn injuries. A 3rd suspect with possible burns may have fled the scene. So you've been hearing about this for the past couple years. Garage in Palisades explodes. Garage in Malibu explodes. Garage in Monrovia explodes. And what's happening are the darn kids are going into their parents' garage with their marijuana and a 1-liter plastic pop bottle, and they're putting the pot into the pop bottle, and then they take a butane cartridge, the big refill cartridges. They take one of those and they shoot it through the 1-liter soda bottle, and what comes out the other end is hash oil. Yes, the hash oil of legend that sends Americans to prison in Turkey for 30 years and the whole thing. It is that easy to extract, except for one little catch, and that would be the extraordinary volatile flammability of butane, which does not react to things that are on fire or even sparks, and so that's how these things go bluey. Is like because your idiot friend's over there smoking in the corner or whatever. So now it's bad enough when they're blowing up garages and palisades, because that inconveniences like Ray Liotta. Okay, but hotels, FFS. Seriously? I'm guessing it's not a real high-end hotel. This is not happening, at the W or something. But I don't know. Maybe it is. So the latest on the fire. And by the way, Michael Chappé, I keep seeing this on here. So what is the containment on that Castaic fire? But I didn't see it. I drove there to take pictures today. I saw nothing. There was smoke on the edge of the lake. There were crews putting out embers. Did it go over the hill? Huh. I didn't see the air tankers or anything. Yet the containment, and so I guess it's two separate metrics. One is the overall size of the fire, and the other one is man is affecting this percentage of that larger number. I guess, yeah. And so, but I always enjoy a good air show, and they had out of Montana. They had a P-2V Neptune, which is a 1950s vintage Lockheed anti-submarine twin-engine aircraft that's been repurposed as a fire bomber. And they had Red Tail number 44 working the issue and out of the great state of Montana. So I was checking that out, because they go from Fox Field. That's where they Fostex them up. And at Fox Field, and then they did not. I didn't see the super tanker. That's the showstopper. That DC-10, the KC-10, the super tanker. Oh, but come on, they're gonna tax us anyway. I will tweet out video from last year, the sand fire in Canyon Country. Some fire crew guy, they were emptying out a neighborhood on the east side of 14, and that KC-10 at rooftop level, it seems, dropped the load of orange fire suppressant right on them. And I'll find that video and I'll tweet that out. No, it's always, I don't want to be that guy. I'm not an ambulance chaser. It's just that if they're going to hold an air show, I will watch it. And it is dramatic stuff. It's a really extraordinary and very, very skilled ballet that they're doing. They're not supposed to say that. Yeah, they're not supposed to officially say that. But LA County, again, flies at night because CAL FIRE cannot, U.S. Forest Service cannot. LA County has the capability to fly at night. The Firehawk helicopters and the pilots are all qualified night vision pilots, so they can fly at night. Most of the LA County Firehawk helicopter pilots are prior Army. And I know a guy who was a career Apache pilot, and he's literally one of the highest paid state employees in the state of California, and he works like 10 days a month, and he lives in Arizona. but God bless them. They come here and they put those fires out. But like I say, it's pretty spectacular, and it's a direct reflection of at least some of our LA County taxes going somewhere. Oh, they beat the living crap out of Prop H. This is not voicemail for the homeless. No, it's risky flying. It is because look at this. The fire creates its own weather, its own wind patterns. Yeah. Yeah, no, those guys bust ass. I saw a bunch of the LA County crew walking from their hotel to the Outback Steakhouse in Valencia. So I gave them a little honk. So that's because you know what? because I support the firefighters, and I thought doing a honk would buck up their spirits. They probably thought it was a giant asset, but I don't know. So if you were one of those guys, and that was my honk of support. All right, we'll be back right after this. We'll wrap up some of the international stuff, give you the latest on what happened in London, and then a final death toll here for Super Hyper Local Sunday, and we'll check out how the box office went, because that's very LA. So we'll see who won at the box office and more stuff right after this. Brian Suits here until 10 p.m. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Michael Chappé with the news.
Police in London confirm one man has been killed, at least 8 other people hurt after a van slammed into pedestrians. It happened near a mosque, apparently after worshippers had finished prayers just after midnight Monday London time. A 48-year-old man has been arrested, and Britain's Prime Minister...
A little friction can generate lots of static electricity. That's probably true. Yeah, they are...
The Bay Bridge was partially shut down.
They're starting their own fires. Who knows? I don't know. I don't like those new Evokes. I really enjoy my Discovery. I don't like anything bigger. But we'll see. You know what? Another theory that I have is that a lot of times people are taking actual lighters and they're doing that, right? Not the cartridges, but actual lighters, and that they might be sparking it themselves. So so the guy who crashed his pickup on our property last Friday, we gave him a gigantic break, left it up to him to report it. He didn't damage the property except he hurt the fence. So the guy that we're renting from, he said, hey, I need $300 for this fence. And because the guy came to clean it up and towed the truck off, they left immediately, went to a cash machine, came back with $300. And then the guy said, hey, look, if there's one piece of glass that we miss, just give me a call, we'll come get it immediately. So the guy understood what a gigantic break we gave him in the state of California. Letting him self-report to a hospital, and the whole thing. If he had damaged, property or whatever, it would have been a way, way different conversation. But the guy was lucky to be alive. He didn't run. He could have, our driveway's an eighth of a mile long, so we didn't hear the accident. He could have cleaned out the car and left and called it in stolen, but he didn't. He knocked on the door, so we gave him a break, and so he was a good guy, and I hope he's a good guy, because literally in California, had we called the sheriff's department and got an incident number on this, they would have gone to the hospital. They would have taken his blood. The whole thing, and he'd be looking at a $5,000 to $10,000 butt fuck on that one. So, because that ain't no joke. No, we used to actually live in Little Tujunga Canyon, and it was awesome. It was a great house, a big Spanish mission-style ranch house on Little Tujunga Canyon, and we almost bought it. The guy who owned it, the owner, his grandparents settled in Little Tujunga Canyon. His parents built at the east end of Little Tujunga this beautiful Frank Sinatra Rat Pack, Vegas-style ranch house, really cool place. And then they built for their kids these other houses on ridges. And so we had a house on a ridge right below Camp 9, the LA County Fire Camp. So every morning, the LA County Firehawks would buzz our house, and they'd go down to Lake Pacoima, and they'd fill up, and they'd fly uphill at us, and they would dump water around the house. It was really cool. So my daughter used to make cookies for the pilots. So we would run up the hill, and we would give the air crew cookies. And one of the pilots, I got to be buddies with him because he was an Apache pilot when I was in Baghdad. And he used to let us, he let my daughter sit in the cockpit. My daughter's 7, and he let her turn on the APU and turn up the turbine and all this shit. And so we got to be, pretty tight with those guys. And that house burned down in the sand fire. We moved, there was no fire in Little Tujunga Canyon for 54 fucking years, right? And that's part of the problem. There was no fire for 50 years. We moved, and a month later, it burned down. It was amazing. But this is part of the problem with the National Forest, is that we fight the fires. These are fires that should be happening, and then there's not a fire for 100 years. Here's Daisy, the producer. Oh, wait.
Hi, guys. How are you? I'm going to go back to the other.
Okay. But it was a really, really cool house, and it apparently went up. And we found out about it because there was a picture of it in the LA Times. The house was burned down, but the grand piano survived the fire. It was amazing. So I know that area. It's a great area. And you can actually, if you park on Little Tujunga Avenue around 18777 Little Tujunga, you can walk down the Pacoima River into the reservoir, and nobody knows. And you can swim. It's like a private lake. But it takes about an hour and a half hike to get down there. So do it early in the morning, and look out. There's a female cougar, and she's all around there. Should I get a bumper? Any suggestions on a bumper? Anyone? What's that? Oh, no, he'll get it. I would love to do the immigrant song. Hey, you don't have the immigrant song handy, do you? Zeppelin? Oh, no problem. The board op doesn't know what the immigrant song is. This guy claims to be like this huge, like heavy metal rock dude. Oh, like what? Yeah, sure. He doesn't know what the immigrant song is, which means he doesn't know what hey, what can I do is. Ramble on from Led Zeppelin 4. Zoso. Wait, Ramble on's from Led Zeppelin 4, not 3, right? KFI, M640, more stimulating talk. It is Super Hyper Local Sunday. Brian Suits here one last time, and I'm a little ashamed because I was about to credit Ramble On with being on Led Zeppelin 4, but it might be from Led Zeppelin 3. Not positive. I know my discography. Ramble On, our bumper, is it on Led Zeppelin 2? Oh, really? I mean, I can name the tracks in order from Led Zeppelin 1, and anyway, but regardless. Yeah. So, wait, well, here's the good part. Hit it, Josh. See, that's the good part. Speaking of rambling on, that's going to be the LAPD cadet program, by the way. They're suspending it in a widening investigation of the LAPD's cadet program, which is apparently, I have it on good authority, that this is the Explorer program for LAPD. Chief Charlie Beck on Sunday announced that he has suspended training for the cadets of the 77th Street Division and Pacific Division, where 3 cadets arrested on suspicion of stealing police cruisers were based. This was a bizarre story, and I don't really honestly think that LA media understood what they were talking about here. These weren't just stolen. This is basically an inside job. The teens, a female, 15, and then 2 males, 16 and 17, were not identified because they were minors, were booked in connection with the theft of the cruisers and other LAPD property, including bulletproof vests and tasers. Chief Beck said that all 3 were involved in the vehicle theft, but that it was not immediately clear which of them may have been involved in taking the other equipment. And so currently, and listen to these numbers, 2,300 teens between 13 and 20 are enrolled in these cadet programs, or in the cadet program. The programs operate at each of the 21 geographic stations. And so the way this works, and the reason this interests me is because I was an explorer. I was a law enforcement explorer in high school because I grew up in a very poor county. We had to run to the motor pool. Here was the deal. Clallam County, we were poor AF. The county was poor. So the sheriff, with no dummy, Sheriff Harley Bishop, had been sheriff for like 50 years. He saw this program, the Explorer program, and he saw it as a way to up his numbers on the streets. So the Explorer program was open to males 15 and older who were over 180 pounds or over 15. We wore the same uniforms as the deputies, everything but a gun. So we appeared like, and we made every car look like a two-man car. And they used us so much for evidence searches, body searches, all this stuff, that we had a beeper at the high school. And the sheriff would beep the high school. The principal had a beeper in his office, and the sheriff would beep him. The principal would call down to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff would say, "We need 4 bodies." And so the first 4 of us that came to the office were out of school for the rest of the day. But here's the punchline. We kept a car at the high school. We had a sheriff's department, a Monte Carlo. It was a Dodge Monte Carlo. Or a Monaco, I mean. It was an old school Monaco. We had a Monaco at the high school with a light bar. It was a sheriff's department vehicle. It had a star on the side. It said Clallam County Sheriff. Green fenders, white doors, a red and blue light on the top. But here's the kicker. They disabled the siren and the lights because they knew that we were complete grab asses and that we would rip around Port Angeles, Washington with that on if we didn't have that. But we knew how to un-F it, but we didn't because it would be he was actually helping us keep our noses clean. But in return, we learned responsibility. We got the trust of the deputies. A lot of the deputies, we had habitual relationships with some deputies who liked us and some who didn't, and all that. And you get to a point where there's a level of trust. You have free run of the sheriff's department. You put on your uniform and you have your meetings there once a week and all that. They buzz you into the doors. You can grab radios, the whole thing. So the LAPD cadet program, these to the cops, these are the good kids. These are the ones who are doing this because they want to get into law enforcement. They're not moles for the Crips or MS-13 or something. It wouldn't surprise me if there was some of that. However, by and large, these are the good kids. And so there is a certain level of trust where these, if these guys are around a station long enough, they know what cars are never taken out. There's some cars at the back of the motor pool that no one wants. They're just really janky rides. And so they know that no one's going to miss them. And then maybe you can just make up a story and say it's up at, maintenance up at Beck's house or whatever, And so what they're finding out is that there was tremendous trust placed in a lot of these cadets and not a lot of oversight. And so Beck is just withdrawing the program, which by the way, is throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because the cadet program, the Law Enforcement Explorer program, it really is a great program. I think the whole thing, all 21 geographic stations, the cadet program's getting shut down. Let me correct this because I read this out loud. I have no retention apparently. Training the cadet program at the 77th Street Division and Pacific Division. So not all 21 geographic commands, but there are 2,300 teens. And like I said, it's a great program, and so it would absolutely suck to do mass punishment like that. Also, real quickly before we got to go, 200 firefighters battling brush fire near Moreno Valley. This kicked off today around 3 p.m. So with this heat wave coming, the increased fire danger is obvious. We all should know that. So that's what's happening around the Southland. That is your Super Hyper Local Sunday, plus a little bit of Dark Secret Place, and streaming on the YouTube Live. So thanks to Josh and Daisy and Michael Chappé. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for Military Monday with Bill Handel. Brian Suits out. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. All right. I'm going to go.